So I believe we can slowly start. Wonderful. What a beautiful building, huh? Everybody look up and at this amazing ceiling. So my name is Patricia Scherer. I'm going to guide you through the next couple of days. And I'm extremely excited to be here. It's a real honor to be in the beautiful city of Prague, and it's even more of an honor to be with so many passionate people in the room. It's a great occasion for us, after years of COVID, to meet again in person and to see each other and to see our smiling faces and to connect with old friends, but also make new ones. And I hope that this will be the occasion to meet new people and old people and many of the supporters of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum. On behalf of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum, I want to thank the Czech presidency for hosting the evening and for their general support. Indeed, I think it's worth a round of applause. Before we get started, nevertheless, I would like us all to remember that when we registered for the event, we also signed the Code of Conduct. The Code of Conduct is important because that's the way we want to be treated ourselves, and that's how we have together decided to treat others. So, in line with the Code of Conduct, I would also like to say that if you feel you want to wear a mask because you want to protect yourself from COVID-19, then you are welcome to do that. If you feel sick and you're not well, then stay in your room and contact the staff, and we will get you a test and hopefully the medical care that you need. I would also like to remind you that some of us might not want to be on a picture and not be on social media. And those of us that have a red lanyard like this around their neck, please do not photograph them. Please do not share their picture on your social media channels. It might be very, very crucial for them and a question of survival. So please respect that. So, without further ado, I would like to hand over the word to Her Excellency Markéta Pekarová, the Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies of the Parliament of the Czech Republic. Madam Speaker, the floor is yours for the welcoming words. Thank you so much.
Dear Deputy Minister, Mr. Kurfist, dear Mrs. Furtună, dear participants of the forum, dear friends, it is my great pleasure to welcome you here in Prague at the Chamber of Deputies of the Czech Parliament. This is the last major event of the Czech presidency of the EU that I have the honor to host. And it is also an event that I personally consider one of the most important. So I'm happy you all came. Welcome again. Thank you that you came. This is already the 14th annual assembly of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum. So many years have passed since the project was launched in Prague in May 2009. We should reflect on its achievements and failures. But today, I want to use this opportunity, after all these years, to look back on the original idea behind the Eastern Partnership. You often hear that this partnership is a group of post-Soviet countries. Countries that the West is trying to include in its so-called sphere of influence. This is simply not true. The fundamental idea of the partnership is that it brings together nations that share the values of freedom and democracy. Nations that have always been part of the broader European space. Nations that contributed to the richness of our continent. Nations that simply want to belong where they always did. Yes, the history of the Eastern Partnership has been far from straightforward. And this is the civil society which you represent that deserves a huge credit for the fact that the democratic and pro-European ambitions in the member countries never lost the momentum. There were times where the development in some of your countries took negative turns and many observers started losing hope. But the will of the people, voiced by civil society, is unbreakable. Take, for example, as we often do nowadays, Ukraine. From the Orange Revolution in 2004 to the Maidan protests in 2014, civil society played an exemplary leading role. When the full-scale Russian aggression started in February, it was civil society, jointly with the political leadership, that helped mobilize public support. Ever since, the Ukrainian civil society has been working tirelessly against all odds, and you helped to keep it united and motivated. The Czech Republic, with its historical experience of struggle for freedom and democracy, symbolized by the late President Václav Havel, understands that it has the duty to support democratic values in other countries. We have used our presidency of the EU to promote this goal, and we will keep promoting it even after the presidency has ended. We will actively work with civil societies in Eastern European countries. I will conclude by mentioning the fact that two countries that are represented here, Ukraine and Moldova, have recently been granted EU candidate status, and Georgia has been granted the European perspective. It is truly a historical moment, and my country will do its best to facilitate their journey towards the European Union. But this should not be thought of as the end. The European family of nations should always be open to those that are willing and ready to respect the core values of freedom and democracy. This is, by the way, one of the reasons why the Eastern Partnerships was established. I sincerely hope that you will help promoting these core values in your respective countries, and that this great civil society network will support you. I will stop here because we have some very important speakers and some important awards to be presented. But let me thank you again for coming, and I wish you fruitful meeting and inspiring stay in Prague. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, also for reminding us of the great legacy of Václav Havel, and I think he is definitely inspiration for many of us. The director of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum is Anna Furtună, and I believe she has some welcoming words for us too. So Anna, please.
Madam Speaker, thank you for your words and for welcoming us in your beautiful house. The Czech Republic has been a long friend of the Eastern Partnership region, and we are honored to be here today and continue our cooperation. Thank you. Dear colleagues and friends, I'm very happy to greet you all on behalf of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum. It is actually my first time addressing you all in person since taking on my role as the director of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum. And I feel privileged for taking on the role of this great organization, bringing together the most prominent and impactful civil society leaders in the Eastern Partnership region. I'm happy to see new faces, but also many familiar ones, and I look forward to meeting all of you the next 3 days. This is also the first time that Forum delegates gather again in person since the annual assembly back in 2019. A lot has happened since then. A global pandemic that caught us off guard, a pandemic used by autocratic leaders and regime as an excuse to crack down on independent voices, incredible repression against Belarusian civil society following the August 2020 presidential elections, resurfacing war in Nagorno-Karabakh, and then 24th of February this year, when the terrible and unjustified Russian war of aggression against Ukraine. In such circumstances, it can be easy to feel discouraged and sometimes lost. Famous American TV host Fred Rogers once told a story of how his mother told him that in the face of tragedy and catastrophe, when we feel sad and hopeless, we should look around and look for the helpers. Because if we look for the helpers, there is hope. And tonight, in this room, there are a lot of helpers, which means that there is a lot of hope. Civil society, each and all of you together, have been at the forefront of it all, providing help to the neediest while holding your governments accountable and working towards sustainable and democratic reforms. At the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum, we tried our utmost to do our part. We have been as active as possible to advocate for more space for dialogue with civil society within the fora we have in Brussels. We have been advocating for Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia to obtain the EU candidate status in formal events, closed-door discussions, op-eds, and we're very happy to see the Council's decision in June granting EU candidate status to Ukraine and Moldova, and we are hopeful that Georgia will catch up with them soon. We have continued advocating for human rights, rule of law, and sustainable reforms. We have contributed to all EU human rights dialogue with the Eastern Partnership countries and have been vocal against, for instance, the politically motivated sentencing of Belarusian philosopher and civil society leader Vladimir Matskevich, and against Lukashenko's regime continued crackdown on opposition and trade union leaders in Belarus. We brought attention to the disproportionate use of violence against Azerbaijani blogger and activist Bakhtiar Hajiev. When it comes to the situation in Ukraine, we gave out 220,000 euros to projects tending to the needs arising from the war and neighboring countries, and in the form of core support to civil society organizations who needed to continue their precious work. While I'm aware that this is just a drop in the ocean, it was important for us at the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum to do our utmost, and we had no hesitation in relocating all the money we had for regranting in 2022. Since February 24, we have been calling for more military, financial, and humanitarian aid to Ukraine, for stronger sanctions to Russia, for the seizing and selling of all assets of Russian oligarchs in Europe, and for their profits to be used to fund Ukraine. We have been calling out the slow reaction of the UN and raised repeatedly the problem of the loss of trust in the International Red Cross that emerged in the first month of the war. We will continue working hard together with all of you for a peaceful, prosperous Ukraine until the war ends and after, and for a peaceful, prosperous EaP region where democracy prevails over authoritarianism, human rights are respected, and civil society is included in all reform processes. I will conclude by saying that I am looking forward to meeting all of you and continue working closely together as partners. My wish for this annual assembly is for it to be an occasion to come together, hug old friends and make new ones, but also an occasion to reflect together on the future of the Eastern Partnership region and shape discussions that include civil society's views. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Anna. And I know, Anna, you and the team at the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum have prepared the next 2 days in a large effort over the past weeks. And as of tomorrow, we will dedicate our full attention to discussing stronger Eastern Partnership, strengthening energy security through multilateral cooperation, and also resisting authoritarian regimes. But tonight, let's start off with talking about resilience. That's the theme of this conference. And resilience is this word that I thought I would never ever use again in such a way. I grew up in a very privileged environment. I had peace, democracy. I come from a relatively rich country, Germany. And that I would ever have to think about resilience the way we have to think about resilience together today was beyond my imagination. And part of resilience for me is showing up for each other. It's about being there for each other, even when times are really rough. And that you are all here today means that you are showing up for each other with empathy, with support. And I hope that in the spirit of resilience, in the spirit of showing up for each other, we can continue this conference and tonight and celebrate the resilience of civil society, starting with the EaP CSO Award. And before we give the award, I would like us all to draw our attention to a little video, I believe. So maybe we can have a look at that.
З 24 лютого 2022 року організаціям-членам Української національної платформи Форуму громадянського суспільства Східного партнерства по всій Україні довелося стати воїнами-волонтерами. Хтось взяв до рук зброю і пішов захищати Україну від російської навали, а хтось лишився в тилу і змінив свою звичну діяльність на волонтерську заради спільної мети захисту України. Як і вся країна, члени нашої організації допомагали підрозділам територіальної оборони та Збройним силам України. Забезпечили їх засобами захисту, теплим одягом, засобами нічного бачення та спостереження. Ми також допомагали місцевим жителям виїхати з окупованих територій. Важливе значення мала справа забезпечення ліками та медичними засобами мешканців, зокрема дітей, в населених пунктах в зоні активних бойових дій чи бомбардування. У деяких випадках це була підтримка лікарень, зокрема забезпечення їх вкрай необхідними генераторами. Або організація тимчасового навчання в школах, щоб забезпечити дітям хоч мінімальне відчуття стабільності та нормальності життя в ці нелегкі часи. Паралельно з цим ми підтримували процес реформування, надавали поради уряду щодо продовження демократичних реформ та перетворень навіть в умовах війни. А також виступали на міжнародному рівні задля фінансової та гуманітарної, а також військової підтримки України. Усе це робилося попри нелегкі умови та виклики сьогодення, втрату своїх офісів, обладнання та документів, а також попри особисті трагедії. І хоч ми все ще сфокусовані на допомозі у подоланні безпосередніх наслідків війни, у майбутньому внесок громадянського суспільства буде вкрай важливим для відбудови нашої країни та загоєння ран, залишених російською війною. Перемога України на полі бою – це лише частина успіху. Окрім безпосередньої перемоги на фронті, перед нами стоїть ще одне спільне завдання – відбудувати Україну і зробити її ще кращою. І, звичайно, це має відбуватися за найвищими європейськими стандартами, гарантуючи, що ми будуємо не лише Україну, але й усю Європу більш стійкою та сильною. Громадянське суспільство, безумовно, буде в центрі розбудови нової сучасної України. І ми маємо докласти всіх зусиль, щоб пострадянська модель розвитку назавжди залишилась в минулому, а Україна стала невід'ємним і важливим членом європейської родини. Тому очевидно, що для досягнення цілі українське громадянське суспільство потребує підтримки та зміцнення, адже попереду в усіх нас багато роботи. Цей шлях не буде легким, але наша рішучість, цілеспрямованість і єдність на висоті як ніколи. І ми знаємо, що ми досягнемо успіху попри всі виклики.
Thank you very much for that. So I believe Irina Sukhy, the member of the steering committee of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum, will tell us a little bit more about the award. Irina, please.
Good evening, dear colleagues and friends. It is with great pleasure that I join you here today to present our 2020 Civil Society Award on behalf of Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum. This is the 5th year that we give out this award, which is unique in its recognition of the remarkable courage, unwavering dedication, and exceptional leadership of individuals and organizations from the Eastern Partnership region, bringing positive change in their communities, often at great personal risk and sacrifice. 2022 has been, for many accounts, a horrible year. Russia has invaded Ukraine, full-scale war has returned to Europe, something that many thought was unthinkable. It is cruel, unfair, unhuman, and fills us with anger and pain. In this difficult context, Ukrainian civil society has led a truly heroic resistance, bringing comfort, support, and hope to the people of Ukraine, to its government and institutions, and to millions of people in Europe and in the world. Sometimes this support came in the form of warm meal, blankets, or medical deliveries to people who lost everything. Other times, it came in the form of sleepless nights supporting the government in filling questionnaire to obtain EU candidate status. This is how wide the range of Ukrainian civil society support swings. Ukrainian friends, you have shown an enormous courage, strength of steel, and profound humanity. We know that this came at a great personal cost, and this fight is not over. We are committed to continue supporting you in all ways possible. Please know that you have partners in all of us. It is because of all of that, and without any shadow of doubt, that there, as a steering committee, we decided to present the 2022 Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum Civil Society Award to the brave civil society of Ukraine. This is for your extraordinary mobilization in support of the war efforts, providing humanitarian aid, alleviating suffering while counting to support democratic reforms. I am particularly happy to announce that for the first time this year, Civil Society Award comes with a financial contribution, kindly supported by our partners, the Czech and Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We want to thank you both for joining us in recognition Ukrainian civil society extraordinary work and backing it financially. Friends and colleagues, it is my pleasure and honor to invite to this stage Ruslan, Maryna, and Yaroslav. to collectively receive their civil society award, the brave people of Ukraine.
I think also we have Cynthia to help us give the awards. So Cynthia Pekarová, also from the steering committee. Come here, yes. I think we can do with another round of applause, huh? Thank you so much. We'll take one more photo. Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful. So I'm going to ask all of you to sit back down for a second and let's have a listen to the donors, and then we will continue our little speech because I want to know more about what you have done. So maybe you can sit down for a second. Thank you so much. Well done. Thank you for all your work, and we will talk a little bit more about that in a second. But in the meantime, I would like to invite on the stage Mr. Yaroslav, Deputy Foreign Minister of the Czech Republic, to tell us a little bit more about the support.
Thank you and good evening. Welcome all to Prague. And let me to thank Mrs. Speaker for providing us such a great venue and taking the patronage over all this event. We are very grateful for this. Last year when we started to plan this event in Czechia with Anna Furtună and all the team in Brussels, it was just a plan. Today it's a reality. And we thought it would be good to concentrate on resilience. At that time, we knew that resilience will be important as a concept, but we did not know how much it will be important and in what context we will have to discuss that important quality. We thought that we will discover resilience in a discussion, but resilience is being demonstrated by brave Ukrainian people every day, and we can learn from them. I would like to praise all of them. I'm so pleased that we can have this Eastern Partnership of Civil Society Forum in Prague because this is one of the formations of the Eastern Partnership where we have all 6 countries together, including Belarus, which is not participating on the level of the government, but we have the civil society here, and we will never forget that they are brave people also in Belarus fighting this brutal authoritarian regime. It is very much in the tradition of Václav Havel, who was mentioned here several times, and This is maybe because of his legacy, why the foreign policy of Czechia has in its DNA a sort of strong focus on the support of civil society and also human rights and freedom of media and these issues which are very close to our heart. At the Ministry of Foreign Affairs we have a practical tool to promote this, and this is a transition promotion program which just this year in 2022 was amounting 600,000 euros, and which is really a practical instrument to support all of this, and today's award is also part of the program. Let me conclude that I will wish you really wonderful 2 days, 2 more or 3 days in Prague, and tell you that we will be supporting Ukrainian heroes. We will be providing weapons. We will be supporting financially humanitarian aid and everything. We will be supporting the civil society and all other needs. We will try to do our best to cover. We see really the future of Ukraine within the European Union. We will do our best to help. Also, we are doing it now in the capacity of the Czech presidency. But I think what is the most important, we will do it as long as it takes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kurfürst. And I believe you are not the only generous donor. I believe there is also with us tonight Mrs. Markéta Pawlak, the special envoy to the Eastern Partnership from Poland. The floor is yours.
Mrs. President, Mr. Minister, distinguished guests, this is my honor to be the part of tonight's gala for tonight's evening, and I am very proud that Poland can also be committed to support the brave Ukrainian civil society national platform and all the Ukrainians. From the very beginning of the war, all people from Poland were standing together with Ukraine, and we want to be solidary with Ukraine all the time. I do not tell more because I am really touched and very emotional about this prize, but first of all, Poland was always supporting the Eastern Partnership policy, and we believe that the decision of June, the decision that Ukraine together with Moldova was granted candidate status, and Georgia, European perspective is its biggest success, but also we think that the future of the Eastern Partnership is more to work with the civil societies. So I hope that it will be our future, and I wish all the best to Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!
So thank you very, very much, Mr. Kurfürst and Mrs. Pawlak, for your support. Well, I would like the three of you to come back up here, if that's okay. Ruslan, yes. Maryna, Yaroslav. So I was telling you before that I had been to Ukraine. I was observing the elections in 2019 with the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, and it was such a great place to be and so much dynamism, and I met some of the civil society organizations at the time, and the work you are contributing so much to continue it also, even in this difficult time. Maybe Ruslan, I can start with you. So the award is a symbol of recognition to your work, but obviously you are planning further activities, and I was wondering what kind of cooperation you were looking for in the future. So I'll just hand you the microphone. I think that's the easiest.
Thanks.
Or do you want to go up there? Yeah, okay.
First of all, thanks for this opportunity, for award. This award is for all Ukrainian people, for all Ukrainian civil society. On behalf of Ukrainian citizens, I would like to thank you the award. It's really important for all of us to feel that we not alone. To feel in constant support for European countries. However, even more I want to sense the civil society of Ukraine, which my colleagues and I have honor to represent today on this ceremony. I would like to draw your attention to the incredible contribution that ordinary Ukrainian people provide for in this war, provide for the future victory of Ukraine and whole Europe. Today, the whole world admires bravery of Ukrainians, but we need your help more than even before. Our resources, material, financial, psychological, need constant renewal to continue our fight. We sense our European partners, especially Baltic countries, Poland, Czech Republic, and other European countries, for provided support. But the war continues. The Russian war against all Europe, not only Ukraine. The best Ukrainians, the civilian population, die every day. We are left without our homes, food, medicine, last time electricity, water supply, etc. Thus, we need your constant support in these areas. I call all European partners to continue to support civil society of Ukraine, push your governments to do enough for the win and end this war.
Thank you so much, Ruslan. And I'm sure your call to further support has already been heard. Maryna, you were telling me before what this award meant to you, so it would be lovely if you would share again what you were telling me also before.
Yeah. We still exist. Ukraine exists. And this is largely thanks to civil society. This war is breaking with everything that holds us with the northern eastern enemy. Civil society fought, advocated European integration, and now with the weapons in the hands is fighting for our freedom. Not for Ukrainian freedom, also for our freedom. We went to Prague by bus, and all around was in abyss of darkness of Ukrainian cities, villages. We stood in a border around 10 hours because there were many buses to cross the border. Yesterday in the evening I stood on the middle of Charles Bridge in Prague, and it was raining. And I burst into tears. Around was a happy, peaceful, calm, beautiful Christmas time town. Fight for freedom. Protect freedom and dignity. Support each other. Support civil society of Ukraine, and thank you for award.
Thank you so much, Maryna. So Maryna Gutgarts, project manager of the Ukrainian National Platform, and Ruslan Gavriluk, national facilitator of the Ukrainian National Platform. Thank you for your emotional and authentic words. I think they mean a lot to us also here in the room. Last but not least, Yaroslav. Yaroslav, you are the founder and chairman of the board of the youth organization STAN, and you have been really at the forefront of helping people in need and CSOs who lost everything. What moved you most in the encounters you had in the past months?
First of all, it's very symbolical for me to be in Prague, and I learned a lot about resilience in Prague during my fellowship in Prague Civil Society Forum, Prague Civil Society Center, and I learned about the resilience of Czech people against Nazi regime, the resilience of Czech people against Soviet regime, and I'm really proud to be here in this city, in this country, and to talk about what all of us did for this last year. First of all, I want to say that when the war started, I received hundreds of messages and requests what can be done from Georgia and Armenia, from Moldova, Azerbaijan, from Belarus, and of course all over Ukraine. And I'm happy that in western part of Ukraine we opened our doors to civil society representatives of Forum, and we hosted them when the war started, when they tried to move from Kherson region, from Donetsk and Lugansk region, from Chernihiv region. It was solidarity that I'm fighting for the last 20 years of my activism background, and I am sure that Ukrainian civil society showed this solidarity, and this is, if Czech Republic is the example for me of resilience in 20th century, I'm proud to say that Ukraine will be the example of resilience in 21st century. And I know that we received huge support from all over the world. And only our organization, for example, we are now operating 10 shelters, 5 help points for people. We are now creating, actually with support of Czech international organizations, child-friendly spaces in different regions of Ukraine. And I'm sure that this is only one small part of everything that is done now. Only our small organization spread humanitarian aid for 1 million euros this year. And I know that lots of you did even more. And I'm really proud how it works. And I'm proud that it wasn't only our Ukrainian deal. It was like all over the world. And in future, I hope that we will be back to peace building, that we will use our experience to build peaceful society inside Ukraine. Like you said, that we need to talk about post-war development, post-war recovery, and I hope that Civil Society Forum will be one of the main actors in peace building all over the Eastern Partnership countries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yaroslav. So I'm going to thank you. Thank you so much for your work and going above and beyond to make sure that Ukraine finds peace again. And I hope that we can continue these days in this spirit. So I have some technical announcements to make. The three of you, together with the donors and Irina and the steering committee and Anna, you will be asked to take a group photo outside in the lobby. But for everybody else, and then of course for you too, I have a little surprise after the reception. And for this little surprise, you need some strength, some drink, and some good food. So I'm going to ask you to celebrate, enjoy food and drink in the reception hall, and to get ready for our little surprise later on. So thanks for your attention for now, and you can go outside and network.